Sometimes I can tell my age just based on what number album some bands are on. Soulfly is a good example of that. I remember whenever their first album came out, I actually own it. I picked it up shortly after its release, and here we are in 2015 with Archangel, and the band is on album number 10. It's like Max never runs out of energy. It's crazy. Last year we had Killer Be Killed, and now we have a new Soulfly disc, so there you have it. So Archangel, there's been a lot of talk about this, especially because of the track We Sold Our Souls to Metal, which is meant to be a very anthemic song that's based around the whole entirety of not only the metal genre, but of the metal fans, the metal elite, the metal faithful. And this is a track off of Archangel that actually kicks the album off that is very faithful to that claim. Some people will perhaps dispute that the lyricism is a bit simple, but this is a song where simplicity actually works to its benefit. Whenever you're trying to craft an anthem of such variety, that's something that is sort of critical to it. That way it has an application for just about everybody. I mean, imagine if some of the great, classic arena rock songs from the 1970s featured more complex lyricism than they do. I'm thinking of some tracks perhaps by Journey or even Boston. Think about what it would be if that was different. And, think about if Freebird had some different lyricism. Either that or instead of a long-ass solo at the end, they had to devolve into 3 more verses all about how the same bird is still going to be a bird. Whatever. I'm thinking of Forrest Gump. Jenny and all that shit. But this is an album that also is unique in the fact that it's Soulfly's shortest record. It's one that's only about 36 minutes in length unless you get the deluxe edition, and we're going to mention that shortly, considering there are a couple things I would like to speak about in regard to the 3 bonus tracks that you get with it. With the shortness on this album, it's one that certainly passes by a bit quickly and is very aggressive. This is one that's very thrash-oriented, one that's still got the typical groove to it, but also has just more of a sinister snarl to it. There's a little bit more of a death metal or just even a generalized thrash metal influence on this disc, and there's a lot less. In fact, it's nearly not even present. The typical semi-tribal instincts or the semi-tribal moments and elements that have been tradition on Soulfly albums of the past. It's certainly one where it seems like after Killer Be Killed was complete, Max still had just so much fucking energy from that project and still had so much angst and rage and just overall conviction that was a great sound that he was able to apply it to this record, which actually works pretty well for him. The only difference is that the Killer Be Killed project was exceptionally diverse. It was one that certainly highlighted many different styles and brought them together, and each got sort of its fair share and its fair representation. With this on here, it feels a little bit unilateral at times, where the Killer Be Killed disc seemed a little bit more multifaceted. This is an album, though, that the title track is certainly one of the highlights of this disc. It's one that starts off a little bit with kind of a very basic riff. Somebody would say it has a little bit of a doom structure to it, and then just doesn't let up. It does not take the foot off of the accelerator throughout the rest of this track, and it's actually one of the better Soulfly songs that I've heard in quite some time. And these last couple Soulfly records have been pretty good. Maybe not, 5-star God tier classic good, but at the same time, enjoyable experiences. This, too, is also an enjoyable experience. There's a couple of guest vocals, including one gentleman that was a member of the Berserker for a long period of time on Live Life Hard. This is one that features some crazy vocalizations. He's just got such a unique voice, and whenever you intermix that with Max's deeper call, it's one that certainly you can tell the two apart for one, and it's a unique mix, to say the least. However, it still comes across as a bit of a highlight reel for a listener, considering it does boast that creativity. It does boast that difference as compared to some of the other stuff on this disc. Overall, not too bad. Overall, this is one that's extremely solid. Overall, if I were to go with just the first 10 tracks, I would definitely give this album a 78 out of 100. Notice how I say that. Then there's the 3 bonus tracks. The first of which is a cover of You Suffer by Napalm Death, which features, I'm going to guess, probably one of Max's sons saying, please leave the music industry, punk, or something to that variety before launching into the famous 1.3 second long song by Napalm Death from the Scum Sessions, which, what can you say about that? It's 1.3 seconds long. And then you get into I think this is a traditional Brazilian version of the track Deceiver, which I'm not going to state the name of it considering I would ruin it, but I could be wrong on that one, so we're not even going to mention that all that much. It seems like a repeat, but then we get the Soulfly 10. If there's one disappointing factor that I've seen on the previous two now Soulfly albums is the fact that the Soulfly track that is on these discs is not included within the basic standard packaging, because these are always highlights. Usually these are tracks that really exemplify something very different. It exemplifies more of the tribal roots and things like that, and really maintains a lot of its tradition within just great ambiancing, terrific bongo or at least soft drum-based work with just some excellent other instruments swirling around it. I really have always enjoyed this facet of Soulfly. It's something that makes them extremely unique and very, very a band that's very one of its kind. And the fact that these have been restricted to deluxe editions and things like that just seems really, really criminal, because this is a solid track that by itself, if placed correctly in this album, could have easily taken that 78 out of 100 score and maybe elevated it into the light 8s, such as maybe an 81 out of 100, because this one is definitely cool. I get a lot of great vibes from it. But suffice it to say, this is a fairly decent album, but I want to know your opinion about Archangel by Soulfly. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you want some more of it? I myself I enjoyed the album, and now I want to go back and retrace the Killer Be Killed disc from last year, because that was just a phenomenal record. But let me know in the comments below what you think about Archangel by Soulfly, and we will talk again tomorrow about another album. And this is going to be a busy week, so if you're not subscribed, you should be, considering these videos will probably be coming pretty fast and pretty furious about a lot of great albums that are coming. Really, these next 2 weeks are going to be just bananas. So definitely hit the subscribe button, join in the fun, head over to the Facebook group and get your requests or your different comments and messages in over there as well. I'll talk to you later. Peace.